Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Marwell Manor. We are already at the halfway point of autumn. August indeed. Halfway through our autumn season, and we have quite a packed remaining schedule for the last part of the year, really. So we are starting harvesting very early in the morning. You see, it's just about midnight. We've got to get our soybean harvested today, and then as soon as that's done, we're going to move over to field 15, just over there, the other side of the hedgerow, and we're going to be harvesting our wheat on that field as well, and then we'll be baling and selling off those bales. And we need to try and get both of those fields done today if we can, because that would leave us 3 days to get everything else done. As far as sort of prep work, we need to do a lot of grass work because we have a lot of hay requirements for our cattle. We need to do some grass mowing because we need to make some silage for our cattle. We also have a whole load of silage at the BGA that will be ready to sell in another day or two, and we need to obviously get that processed through and sold off. So a lot of stuff that needs to get done and not much time to do it. The mowing and collecting of grass for TMR for the farm is going to take at least a day. So with those kind of time constraints, that's why we're doing a double harvest today if we can. It's, as I say, a lot of work involved, and it's going to be a very, very long day today, making sure that we can get everything harvested. I think what I might well do is I might go back to a full field of crop here. I'm not entirely sure. The kind of silage experiment that we did, where we chopped half the field, or part of the field, as you can see, that thin little gap there between the harvested seed bed and what we're working on now, it kind of worked, but it took a very, very long time. And I think going forward, if we're going to do silage for the BGA, we're going to need, or the farm is going to need, a forage harvester rather than the little attachment that we used. I mean, that's good for small farms and small fields, but on a larger scale, it just takes so long to do anything that any field of any decent size is going to take at least a day, if not more. And we just don't have that kind of time available to spend on just one thing. So going forward, this will probably get recombined into a single crop field. We are going to have to plough out as well the area where we put the corn down. That's going to need to be retilled before we can even begin to cultivate the soil. Otherwise, we're going to have real problems with the yield for the next crop that goes in there. We do have a subsoiler, so what I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to subsoil out that section while the rest of it is cultivated, and that should hopefully get us around that kind of problem, because the rest of the field won't need it. It's just going to be the area where the corn is, so we can get one tractor running with the cultivator and clearing off the soybean stubble that's going to be left behind, and the other can pick up the subsoiler. The other tractor can pick up the subsoiler and then sort of remove that plough issue on the rest of the field where the corn was, and that will get our field back to a nice state of equilibrium. What I also do want to do as well is, if I go to the map, this part of the field just here, where we have that little sort of outcropping of grass and trees and bushes, that's going to get ploughed out as well. So we are going to need to lease a plough just to sort of tear up this ground, but we're going to cut this section out here and then link it back into the field. So we will change this kind of border shape just here and add in a little bit of extra land. I think that'll just be easier for us to work going forward. So let's just tack this a little bit here on the edge. I'm kind of worried now that we might have this issue all the way down the field. I hope we're not. No, we're okay. I was worried that maybe we hadn't gone quite far enough across, but we'd be still picking up stuff through the header now if that was the case, and it's not, so that's good to see. So let's put in a line along the bottom, or two, might do 2 passes through here. Again, just to create the turning room for the combine. I think I will do 2 passes. I'll go up the field this way and then come back down again, and then we'll continue straight lining that way there, and that'll give us a nice easy way for us to then unload our combine. So it's really, really dark, as you can see, because it's still really early in the morning. So visibility is going to be tough, not just for me, but for you guys as well. So I'm going to skip ahead a bit, and I will see you once we've made some progress on this field. Time's ticking on, as you can see. It's just a little after 4 o'clock in the morning now. This trailer will be full once we do this tip here. Combine is almost full itself. Let's get into position. There we go. And that's how much of the field that we've done so far. You can see we've got a tiny little spot there. We'll have to clean that up at the end if it's still there. But we've done, considering we came up to sort of along this line here, that's the start there of where our harvesting began, pretty much. So you can see we've done, I would say, a little over a third of the field so far. Still got all of this chunk to do, making decent time, and then obviously we're on to field 15 after this. Oh, there we go, our trailer is full, so let's go dump the first load of soybean into our silo. Still very, very dark, as you can see. A little bit of moonlight reflecting over there. Sun will be coming up behind us in the next about 2.5 hours or so. So it shouldn't be too long now. And there we go. And you'll notice, actually, that we didn't get the prompt to open or to empty, because at the moment I'm attached to the front weight. So we didn't see a prompt to tip the trailer. That's the first time I've noticed that that's not happened before. I wonder if that's the secret to not having that pop up on screen, is to have a different attachment selected. I'll try that again when we come to empty the trailer. I'll test that again, see if that is actually the case. But that's interesting. If that is actually what the situation is. There goes our combine. We'll sort of take position back down here again. We'll park up just here and we'll wait for the call. And I will see you again in a little while. It's just gone 6 o'clock. The sun is rising. We are making very, very good progress on this field. We would like to try, if possible, and get this field done way before midday, if possible. I'd like to get it done sort of by 10 o'clock at the latest, and then move straight on to 15. The harvesting on 15 will take, I don't know, maybe 4, maybe 5 hours, and then I want to try and get the baling done today as well, if at all possible. It's a lot of work. It's going to take a long time, but as you can see, there's not a huge amount left on this field. So that's all that's left. Down to this kind of small section here, we've done over 2/3 of the field now. We've been going for about 6 hours, so I reckon somewhere between 9 and 10 we'll be finished, somewhere in that kind of window. In terms of how much we've collected so far, you can see we are up to 39,199 litres of soybean, plus whatever's in our trailer, which is around another 20,000 or so. So we're kicking on quite nicely. We're talking around about 60,000 litres so far, and still this to go. So once again, I'll push on, and I'll see you as we've made a bit more progress. Alright, let's try this again. So as you can see, no prompt. Now there's the prompt with the trailer selected. Now if I switch to the front weight, no prompt, but I can still tip. So there is kind of a way to get rid of that little prompt box. I've always wondered if it was possible, and there we go. We have found a way to get rid of the prompt box. You just need to make sure you've got a different attachment selected. I don't know if that's going to work in all circumstances, or if it's only going to work with the trailer. I guess we'll find out, with further experimentation, but it's a promising start. So I'm going to jump into the combine, and I'm going to take over, finish off this last little bit of harvesting myself. We haven't got too much more to do, as you can see. We are approaching 7:30. Like I said, I'd like to be done by sort of sometime between 9 and 10, and I think that's definitely achievable. It's going to be closer to 10, I think, but yeah, we'll get this harvesting finished off and then immediately get started on our field over there. And the sun is out now as well, so it's nice and bright, and we can actually see what we're doing, which is always a good thing. Well, looks like we're going to get done a little bit sooner than I had initially anticipated. You can see it's just gone quarter to 9, and all we have left is a whoops. All we have left is a single strip minus a couple of tire marks. There we go. So this is it. This is the last bit that needs to be done, and then our soybean is finished. I'm really pleased that we've been able to get this done as quickly as we have. As I say, we've got a long day ahead of us. It's going to take some time to get field 15 into a position where we can just start harvesting. We're going to need to clean the edges off. We're going to unleash a worker, and straight away we're going to be running the baler alongside that to try and make sure that, again, we can get everything done as quickly as we can. Because even doing that, it's still going to take us most of the day, I think, to get through field 15. It's not just a case of getting it harvested, but obviously getting that grain transported off, baling all the straw, getting it all collected, getting it all sold off, and then getting everything back to the farm. It's going to take time, and it's going to take, I would say, maybe not twice as long as the actual harvest itself, but it's certainly going to take, I would say, at least 6, 7, maybe even 8 hours to get done. So a big job indeed. This one itself, as you can see, is we got started, what was it, about 12:30, so we've been going on this field for 8.5 hours so far, and we're almost finished with it. Make sure we get this little wider bit here on the side. There we go. Just about to see the occasional tall weed through the crop, that's been, you know, sprayed and killed off. And there we are. Field is finished. So we've got another 5,700 litres in the combine. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much is in the trailer, but I think it's probably about half full, if that. So it'll be interesting to see what our final total is for soybean. Once again, it's a crop that we won't be selling unless we get a very, very good high demand price for it. In which case it'll be sold towards next summer, which may or may not be us. We'll have to see. I realised I can't actually see anything. I can't see where the trailer is with the header in the way. There we go. So we'll get this emptied. And we got done just a fraction after 9 o'clock. That's pretty good. That's about an hour faster than I thought it would take us to get done. So we'll get this quickly cleaned and make sure that we've got all of the soybean grain particles out to the combine. So we'll give it a quick inspection. We'll get the rest of the equipment taken over to Field 15. You know, the baler and a small tractor to pull that, and then we'll get up and running. So I'll see you in a moment. Alright, so time for us to get started on the wheat field. As you can see, just behind the tree there, we have our other tractors ready and waiting. The 6R with the trailer and the 6M with the baler. You can just about make out the baler on the other side of the trailer there. Just see the little top black piece of it. So yeah, we will be strawing this field. I'm going to create a boundary of chopped straw like this, as I always do, to give turning room and also to help straighten the field up. As I say, we are going to be running a worker on this field while we bale the straw, so we do need to try and get it as easy for the worker as possible. So no really weird shaped edges, nice and sort of squared off if we can. And just need to try and, as I say, get those bales created as quickly as we possibly can. I'm not sure how fast we're going to fill up with each pass. Last year we did canola on this field, and so obviously that was a much lower yield than the wheat we're doing here. So I certainly can't loop around the field like I did last year as a part of the boundary. We're already at a quarter of the way full, and we haven't exactly gone very far, have we? So I won't be able to make it all the way around this field. That's a given. But if I can at least square this side off, that's a good promising start, I think. So we're going to take this up to this edge here and then turn around. Square up here. There we go, and just by doing that we're already, oops, got caught in the tree there, we're already about 40% of our tank just from one sort of pass up the field. So it's definitely going to be tricky working the bales and keeping this combine running at the same time. That's going to be a bit of a challenge, I think. But we'll square off here. This will be our field edge on this side. We'll need to put a couple of passes on the opposite side as well, and then obviously the top edge there should be relatively straightforward. We're going to work across the field again, so I don't really necessarily need to do too much on the top there, but I definitely need to do something along the bottom to square that off a bit. And as I said when we were doing our baling last time out, we don't need to straw this entire field. As long as we get enough to create a decent number of bales, then we can obviously get those sold off, and they'll be worth a little bit of cash for us. Not staggeringly huge amounts, but enough to make it worth our while, and certainly enough for us to cover leasing costs of getting access to field 17, so that we can go in there and mow that field for silage. What remains on field 19 is going to be used for hay. We'll get a good number of hay bales off that field, and we'll probably end up keeping most, if not all of them. Let's get the combine turned around, finish off this little patch just here. I think we can just about squeeze all that through the header. It might be a little bit tight. We might leave a thin strip. See if we can get it all. It is going to be really, really close. Looks like we can just about make it. The question is, are we leaving an invisible line of crop by trying to get right up against the edge here? We'll see as we continue up the field and we get out of our draw distance circle, which you can just kind of see in the background there. It goes a little bit darker and then goes very, very dark as we get out of the draw distance and the detail distance. If we zoom out, we can pull those out, or pull those in a bit further. We should see, if there's anything missed, a thin line appear. I think we got it all. Yeah, it's looking like we got it all. That's good. So let's head back to the bottom of the field. And let's see, coming up on 10 o'clock. The longest bit is going to be getting this field prepped for the worker. That's going to be the longest, most time-consuming part of this. But once it's done, we won't have to worry about it again. So we want to kind of square off about here, by the look of it. And again, I need to be very careful, because I'm not going to be able to make it all the way across the field, so I just need to create enough of an indentation here for me to turn around in. Like that. There we go. Let's go get the trailer so we can get that unloaded. I did toy with the idea of getting a worker in the 7R to start cultivating out the field as well, but I didn't want to run into too much of an issue. I wanted to be able to control, what I do without having to, run 3 separate pieces of equipment all at once. So we'll do that another day. If worse comes to worse, we can always get the cultivating done. Which, kind of needs to get done, doesn't it? Because we need to plant the cover crop. Alright, that might be something we do tomorrow then. Is get our fields prepped and cultivated while we're doing some mowing, perhaps. That might be the way to go. Right. Let's move this forward. That's 20% of the trailer already. The combine turned. And there we go. Back off and running again. Yeah, it looks like we are probably came in a little short on this. We probably should have been an extra width across. Never mind. As I say, we're going to be working across the field rather than up and down the field, so it's not the end of the world. We'll get to the end here. We'll tidy up with a couple of passes on that side and then come back down and finish off this section here, and then we can unleash the worker and start dropping straw swaths, which we can then bale as we go. least see if I can straight line this before I hit the hedge. Oh, it's going to be close. Not quite going to make it. Let's cut in a little bit. Try and straighten out again. There we go. If we straight line here, we'll have a little bit of tidying up to do, and we'll probably need to do an extra pass on the way back up again, possibly. Although I think we'll be okay for most of the field. It'll probably just be this little bit here down the bottom that we might need to just cut an extra width in. I probably could have just gone across a little bit more actually, just to be sure, but never mind. There's quite a lot of wheat really when you look at it like this. It's a lot more than you think. One thing I've always said is that these fields are deceptively sized. They look small on a map, but when you actually get on them, they are actually pretty good sized fields. I like that. You know, they feel a good working size. They don't feel too small. Oh, actually, look at that. We judged that pretty much perfectly to get a full pass up here. Thought maybe I'd messed up, but actually that's worked out really well for us. But yeah, I love the fact that the fields do have some substance to them. They're not just these tiny little blink and you miss it fields where if you have, you know, even equipment that's mid-sized, like this combine is a mid-sized combine, the harvesting job is over in a matter of minutes. You know, I like to be able to actually work for a period of time, so you actually feel that you've accomplished something once the field is cleared. And again, we could run straight across the top here, but we're not going to. We're just creating a little turning arc here. We'll have to back through the hedge ever so slightly if we can. And now we're stuck. This is not going well. Come on. Tree in the way. Almost got it right. There we go. That's enough of an angle. Assuming I can get out. Which I can. There we go. So there's our turning room on this side of the field. And then we just have that little thin strip to tidy up. And then obviously that strip along the bottom to tidy up, and then we can start the baling. And I'm aware that visually looking at it, it looks as though it would be better for us to work up and down the field. But that's partly because we haven't put in a double header at the top. We haven't really done a double header at the bottom. We've done a single header at the bottom, whereas we've done double on the sides. Plus, as I said, you know, the combine's going to fill it really quickly, and I want to be able to churn out a decent number of bales without having to stop every moment or so just to empty the combine. So by running it on slightly, you know, shorter passes across the field means there's more chance that I can catch it at the right time and get it unloaded. You know, as it gets closer to actually filling up, rather than sort of having to unload at 60 or 70% every time. Just wondering if I'm actually going to have enough space in the tank to do that little strip just there now. It's going to be really close. We should just about do it, I think. think I left a little tuft of crop there. Yep, just tag that. And we are almost ready to set the worker loose. Alright, we are just about ready, so let's get into position. There we go. Excellent stuff. We are now producing straw. So let's just hop through the hedge. Let's grab our baler. Slow cruise control down a little bit. And let's start baling some straw. I'll have to take over the combine in a second. Make sure it gets lined up for its correct second pass. There we go, let's get it away from the edge. Okay, so we need a slight overlap. I'd say that looks pretty good. There we go, let's turn the beacons off. That should get everything. Yep, there we go. Excellent stuff. So, let's start baling, and I will see you in a little while. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Just managed to empty the trailer for the first time, but obviously we've got these telegraph poles. It's going to cause real problems with baling the straw, so we're going to kind of just skip sections when we get up to a pole like that one there, and then those two over there as well. We'll just skip around the side of them like this, and then we'll tidy up the strip either side of the pole once we're done with the rest of the field. So just need to make sure that our worker actually turns the right way at the top of the field and turns left, and then he's got a nice big chunk to work on there before we have to worry about it again. Coming up on midday, already you can see it's taking us some time. We got onto this field around about 9:30, and so we've been here about 2.5 hours, and we haven't really done a huge amount yet. This is why I wanted to start so early, because I knew this job would take us all day trying to get both fields done and get the straw done at the same time as well. Didn't really fancy leaving the straw out just in case we had another, heavy rainfall like we had more recently. That was pretty intense. Lasted a long time as well, and that would completely ruin any straw that we left out. So we manually position here. There we go. Now we can leave the worker to his own devices. we can jump back into the baler, carry on baling up the straw that's available, and at some point we'll have to do another empty. Probably won't take that long either, so once again I will see you in a little while. There we go, it's 2 o'clock and we've just cleared the second of the telegraph poles, so we've got a second strip in the field now to be tidied up later. The trailer is filling up again as well, as you can see. There's our third pole, so again we've got a nice little bit of uninterrupted running, and you can see we've already created quite a good number of bales. Plus we have 3 straw swaths and a 4th one underway, plus a 5th one that's already kind of halfway done as well. So plenty of straw still to come off this field. We're going to make, I think, quite a nice sizable little bit of cash from our bales. If we can get a decent price for the bales themselves, then we could be looking at, I don't know, up to 20 grand maybe. That might be a little optimistic, but it's a lot of straw bales already that we've created, and we've only done a small bit of the field. When I say small bit, we've probably done actually nearly half the field. Let's take a quick look at the map. Yeah, we're about halfway through the field, look, so maybe just over. We're not going to get a full tip in the trailer again, so we're going to rush this straight over now. Oh, excuse me. Clear my throat and clip the mic on the process. Yeah, we'll go and tip this now, because a full trailer is going to be, well, a full combine is going to be about 10,000 litres, and we only have just over 6,000 litres, well, just under 6,000 litres of space left. There we go. Trailer emptying quite nicely. If we take a quick look at our stocks, that puts us up to 72,500 litres. That's not too bad. We can probably expect another sort of 60 to 70,000 litres off what's remaining. So that's going to put us around 130 to 140,000 off the field by the look of it. That's quite a decent little haul. Actually, no, it might be a little bit less, because don't forget we had the border that we did work, all that border work as well. So maybe we're actually looking at maybe around about another sort of 50 to 60,000 as opposed to 60 to 70. That might be a bit more realistic. So we say we're looking at around about 120-ish in terms of total haul. That's a decent amount, I think. So there we go. Truck is back, or trailer is back in position. Let's carry on baling up this straw. That's a good number of bales that we've made there. Definitely need that bale collector. So it was a worthwhile investment in leasing it. But going forward, we're definitely going to need one for the farm, I think. So that's something to add to our list of potential purchases in the winter, outside of expanding to Field 17. All right. Just splash that last little bit into the trailer that I've been emptying as we got up here, because it's time for another telegraph pole. However, we're also at a point here where that isn't going to be enough turning room, so we do need, on top of that, to create an extra bit of width. So we'll take another pass off just here. There we go, and we're also getting to the point where running across the top is going to start to get a little restricted as well. So I think what I'll do here is just take a break from baling to make sure that we get this bit right. We'll run across this side here, and then we'll come back across the top to square that top edge off. Again, you can see a lot of bales on the field, still a lot of straw that needs to be done as well, including all of this here. Time is ticking on, it's now 3:30. And we've still got a fair few hours work ahead of us. I think it's going to be dark by the time we come to sell off the last of the bales, or even maybe even halfway through the bales. I'm just trying to figure out how many we've got just by a quick glance, and I can't tell. So let's take a quick look at the figures. We have created 63 so far, and still a whole chunk more to come. So we could be looking at close to 100 bales off this field, I think, by the time we're done. If not, maybe even more than that. At 24 bales a run, that is going to be probably 5 trips with a full trailer. You know, 4 trips will be 96, but I think we'll be looking at 5 full trailers, maybe even a 6th partial trailer as well. That's a lot. That's an awful lot. Right, I don't want to be baling right up against the edge here either, so once again we're going to blow the straw for this pass here. Get a worker to run across here. Assuming he will, we might get a little bit too close to the hedge. And we can just about make that. How tight that is. That is really tight. Just about getting away with that. And we had to have that little sort of overlap on the edge because we've got this bit that sticks out here, you see. So again, trying to make sure that we get a nice clean pass all the way along here. So we're just about going to fill the header, or maybe not quite. Yeah, close. But at least we're cleaning that edge off nicely. This is where it gets a bit trickier as well. So once again, we're going to have to kind of break off a little bit and put a border pass on the angle. Something I was hoping to avoid doing, but it's not the end of the world. And we straighten up here a bit. There we go. While we're in this mode, we may as well deal with these patches that run through here as well. Get them out of the way. So this strip, that strip there, the one down the bottom of the field, and then we'll come back up and we'll finish rowing the straw, or swathing the straw for that section there, and again making bales as we go where we can. So I will jump forward a bit and I'll catch up with you once we've got a little bit closer to finishing this field off completely. Almost done with the crop itself. You can see we're just unloading the combine again. The pull up about here. Header go through. There we go. Don't have to completely empty it because we've still got a strip here to do along the top. And I'm going to blow that strip there rather than swath it. So there we go. We have finished getting the crop itself. All of the strips along the telegraph poles have all been cleaned away. So we've just literally got to finish baling up the straw rows and then collect and sell. But as you can see, time ticking on. It's now gone 5:15 in the evening. So I think we are looking at sort of maybe around about an 8 o'clock finish, which is going to make this a very long day indeed. We started, I forget, around about midnight, and still going. 17 hours we've been going so far, and we still have a little bit more work to do. But once this is complete, all of our harvesting will be done for the year. We still need to clean the fields and get our cover crops planted. We still need to do hay for our livestock, and we still need to do a silage cut on field 17 as well before the end of the year. And we've also got silage to sell off, although that can wait till the winter, so that'll be the last of those existing jobs that we have to worry about. Yeah, making sure that the cows have the silage and the hay is the next important job. Making sure that the fields are cleaned and ready for a cover crop to be planted is also quite a high priority. We'll kind of split the field cleaning over those 2 days. You know, 1 day for hay work, 1 day for a silage cut, and we'll get our 2 fields prepped. And then I think on the final day of autumn we'll be planting our cover crops, I think sooner if we can, but as long as we get it done by the very end of the day, that's the important by the very end of the month, that's the important thing. So let's turn the combine off, leave it there for a second, move this trailer out of the way. We'll go and empty this into the silo, see what our final total is. Plus we also need to go and collect the bale collector as well. Let's see, we've got 11,000 litres. So that looks as though it's going to be around about the 60,000 extra that I was talking about, maybe a little bit less. I think, what we say, between 50 and 60, didn't we? So it looks as though we had, 39,000 from the previous trailer. It's about 50,000, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe a fraction over that. So that should put us somewhere in the region, I think, of around about 120-ish in terms of our crop yield. Maybe pushing 130. Let's take a look. $122,821 litres. That's not too bad. 123 grand if we round up. So that's a pretty decent haul, and we'll make a nice little bit of cash off that come the winter when we sell it. Let's see, where did I put the tray? I put the bale collector inside, didn't I, with the rest of our equipment. So we'll drop the trailer off just here. Oops, I've dropped the weight, haven't I? There we go. So I'll grab the bale collector, take that over to the field, but we'll finish baling first before we start grabbing and selling. I'd like to try and get all the bales through at the same price if we can. That's going to be a little bit trickier if we have to sort of sell a chunk now and then wait a couple of hours before we can finish off the sale. So I'll finish the number of bales. We'll see how many bales we've created at the end, and then we'll start selling them off. See you in a moment. The sun is starting to set behind the trees. It's getting a bit darker. I just turned my lights on. It's 6:30, and we're on the final row of straw. Going to get enough for a couple of bales, I think. One at the very least. Two if I'm lucky. I'm trying to think, did I leave any straw on the other field? I think I might have done. If I need a partial bit of straw for a final bale. I'm really curious to see how many we end up with as well. We've worked really hard on this field. Yeah, we're not going to get a full bale out that remaining little strip there. So there we go. That's the last of the bales. Let's move this out of the way as well. And let's tally up and see just how many we've collected. Uh, 96 bales. Ah, well, that is exactly 4 trailer loads. That's kind of handy. So I will collect these 96 bales and start running those over to the barn. So I'll see you when we sell the first batch. Alright, we're approaching the barn. Let's see how much we can get for 24 bales. Oops. Let's clip something there. Hopefully no damage done. I'm still not going to make that turn. Let's try repositioning a little bit. There we go. Excellent stuff. So we're on a fraction under 24,000. Let's see how much we get for selling these bales here. That's not bad. That's what, nearly 6,500. And we've got 3 more trailers to sell as well. So, assuming we get the same kind of price for each of those, then that's going to put us at around 26,000. That's kind of a nice little extra bit of cash. Slightly more than I was expecting as well. So we'll go grab the rest of those bales and then bring them back and sell those off. Hopefully the price will stay the same while I'm gathering them. There are a lot of bales still to get, 3 more trailers worth, and it's possible that the price may dip a little bit between now and the last set of bales getting released. So I'll plod on with that. That's the last thing we're going to do today. Then we're going to go home, put our feet up and have a well-earned rest before turning in for the night. Tomorrow it all starts again, although not quite so early. Tomorrow we're going to be breaking out the mowing equipment and doing a whole load of baling, of hay baling on the remaining grass on field 19. Get all that cut, collected and stored away, and we'll also make a start on cultivating out some of our fields as well. We've got 2 fields that do need cultivating at least, I think maybe 3, because I know that field 1's already done. I think we still need to do field 19 up there as well, so a little bit of cultivating work that still needs to get done. But we'll make a start on that tomorrow as well while we're mowing, and hopefully it won't take us the entire, over 19 hours like it's done today. Hopefully we'll get it done a little bit quicker. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with a little bit more money in my pocket and some more Marwell Manor very soon.